Brett, let's move to the NHL where they've sectioned off based off their division. That's how they're playing their season so far. So we have a lot of data of common opponents against each other. It's also a lot of rivalries. So when you look at some of these games, there's some already recent history that you can work off of. Like in this Calgary and Montreal game that I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on Montreal at home on the money line at minus 120. And that's because they've only lost two games in overtime or in a shootout, and that was to Vancouver and to Toronto. Well, just recently, the Flames lost back to back games to Toronto. Before that, they did win both games against the Canucks. However, I think Montreal at home, they are 4-0, like I said, unless it goes to overtime, and I'll take my chances in overtime with the Canadians. So lock in that on the money line.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, Higgins. Like you, I'm just kind of taking the data that there is and trying to see what we can do. I'm also taking what I saw last year in the bubble and trying to see if any of that carries over as well because there's still no fans at these games. So just trying to take in as much data as possible, like you said. But I liked your read on the Montreal Calgary game. I'm going to be on a few games tomorrow night, but I'm going to be on one specifically. Tampa Bay travels to Carolina, Raleigh, nice little town, Raleigh, in North Carolina there. But Carolina plus 125 on the money line. That's where you can find me, Higgins. These teams are 3-1 and 2-1 respectively. And Carolina has not played a home game yet. So, home opener, I'll take plus 125 in the home opener for the Hurricanes. Sure, why not?
Carolina's a weird atmosphere that they've created at home. I don't know what that's going to be like without fans, but they already get some beef with what they do on the ice together in like pregame and postgame rituals. They're very interesting. It's entertaining. So I like the move of the underdog home opener. It's a very interesting situation there in a division rivalry, I would say, between Tampa and Carolina, who are in the same division outside of these COVID years.
Yeah, no, it's you raise a good point because I do think Carolina's home crowd is one that may affect the game a little more than some other arenas, but I don't know, Higgins. It just seems like these are two pretty good teams that are evenly matched, and I think it's really just a numbers thing for me on this game. I'm really taking plus 125 in a home team that's a true 50-50 in my mind.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Let's talk about the game that you and I are both on, though, Brett. That's going to be the Kings versus the Wild. Now, they've already played against each other recently. The Kings got that a 2-1 victory, but that was in Minnesota. This one's also in Minnesota, so we'll see. Are they going to get back to back in Minnesota? I don't know.
Well, the Wild are not very good at home. They're 1-2, and the Kings are 2-1 on the road. The Kings have also won two games this year with Jonathan Quick in net, and Peterson has not started back-to-back games, and he started on Tuesday. So I like the fact that is in net. He's 2-0. And I like the fact that they won in Minnesota already. And I like the fact that Minnesota hasn't played well on their home ice thus far. So I'm just going to ride those trends. They're early trends. There's not a lot of data to back it. What are we? We're 7 games into the season if you're a Minnesota fan. You're also 7 games into the season if you're a Kings fan. But you're not 7 games in if you're all these teams fans. Like the Stars have only played 3 games, for instance. So uh, you know, there's a little bit of we're early in the season, and I'm just gonna back these early trends, Higgins. That's a feel mostly, but I do have some data to support it.
And I like that. I like that pick. I'm not going to be on either side, though. I just think there's going to be a decent amount of scoring in this game, so you're going to find me on the over, especially because there's good value there. It's a 5.5 over under right now as of Wednesday night when I'm taking this, plus 110. great odds. You're getting favorable odds on that low over under already. And when you look at it, both of these teams' offenses have the capability to score. And when you talked about Quick, who lets up a little bit more goals potentially, the Wild, they've scored 4 goals in a win once. They've scored 3 goals twice already. One was in a win, one was in a loss. The Kings, they've scored 6 in a win. They've scored 4 in a win. I like my chances. 5.5 is not too much in this day and age of hockey, especially if a few power plays happen. The refs get into this game, so 5.5 plus 110. I really like that play.
Yeah, I like it especially for the quick factor. You mentioned it. He's currently allowing over 3 goals against per game. Meanwhile, Peterson down at 2.38. So we won't know who's gonna be in net probably till game time officially, but we can infer based on the information we have, and we can think it's going to be quick because Peterson hasn't started 2 games in a row all season, and he started on Tuesday. Higgins.
Absolutely. And the reasoning of why I'm taking that over in the Kings versus Wild game is kind of also why I'm taking the over in the Ducks Coyotes game. Now, if you look at their goalies, the Ducks, fantastic. Gibson starting fantastic, a 1.67 average, but he started 3 games to start the season. Then Miller came in. He just started another 3 games. I expect maybe Miller's going to start on Thursday night. He averages like 3.11 instead in terms of goals allowed. That's a lot more favorable to a 5.5. And then when you look over at the Coyotes, they have someone that allows 2.5 and another that allows 3, and Kemper and Ranta. So 5.5, again, a very low over under in this day and age of hockey right now with how quick they're playing, with how much the refs are getting into some of these games, especially without fans. So I expect that to also be a high scoring game right there.
Okay, I think I like your play in the Kings Wild over a little bit more, but I see why you're going with it in both. Good value on both. It's not the 6.5 number that you sometimes see. It's not the normal 6. So why not take a swing at both?
And if you think about it, if I only hit one of those 2 over-unders that I'm playing,
You
I still
cover.
make out a little bit over. And then I just have my earlier pick of the Canadians' money line in play. And that, they're a slight favorite. So I like it there. I like that play.
Yeah, you can't. You definitely can't knock that play. I agree. If you're gonna take two, might as well take the two 5.5 plus values and root for some penalties, Higgins.